Hello, everyone. This is a serious matter. I really urge for your support and hope that you'll watch and listen to what I have to say throughout this whole video. It's not very long, but it's very, very important. One of the most heinous crimes of its type, at least, happening to me that just doesn't need to be. But the organizers of this crime against me were arranging this whole plot to make my death or attempted murder look like it happened out of natural causes. The medical field as well all seems infiltrated as well to take on command from someone higher up in rank, to as well help and ensure that there is no thing noticed and or nothing is ever brought into investigations in the ways that I am suggesting it should be, even online in multiple avenues of my online creative videos. But I'm creating these things because I was taken away from being able to create the way I wanted to create. I had no other choice but to speak out. I was blowing the whistle on a lot of places in my life, being targeted since birth, poisoned since birth, basically, to stop the sexual abuse that as a child I and my sister endured. And instead of going and gaining access to any help whatsoever, I instead got gang stalked by certain family members, including stalking from my father, and then almost kidnapped by Danny Heinrich, who I believe was set up because Jacob Wetterling's birthday is the same date as mine. It was Danny Heinrich's face the three times I was almost kidnapped. And who else does that happen to by age of whatever age I was, 11? Something like that. But poisoned up constantly, set up as an easy target to be poisoned with arsenic abuse is what I've discovered based on me studying every single poison that's out there. So I've been basically being forced to live in an open air concentration camp, hacked and having no normalcy of my own life communications, and my own availability to my own self because of the poisons, my own availability to my own mind because of the poisons. So, from personal outreach to the outside world, it has been completely gamed up. The organizers of this way insidious crime against me and close to me, too close to me by proxy, proxy lovers, proxy made roommates, and others, in order to make the attempted murder and many attempts on my life seem like it's all happening out of natural causes or otherwise caused by myself, me, and I, when it's not that way. These are very infiltrated staffs or people that are staffing up for a very premeditated event in my life. Not only that, but it's also very infiltrated in the medical staff and the community, never allowing me to proper treatment or physical treatment, i.e., blood tests, urine analysis, or anything in order to properly discover for the statements that I've been making and giving. I was saying that I need to be treated as a victim of premeditated murder. And they allow for the cover up instead of any natural order to call it anything other than what it actually was. So it's a contrived effort to take me out completely and to take me down firm so that these predators can get away with the crimes of many years that they've been installing inside of my life for my mind not to even be able to see the crime or to be able to reason through anything of the crime, like being arsenic poisoned. You have to go pee, you can't even go pee. Like, you can't even suggest to yourself that you gotta go pee for longer than a minute. So, it's constantly making your mind and your availability to your organic mind as though it's not even allowed you because of the poison, whatever it was. So I was telling the medical community, well, I've been poisoned. So I think it's arsenic because of my studies, but because of your availability to testing and to all of your tools of your trade, that it's believed to me that you can help me discover what is actuality here. And instead of looking at my physical body at all, they wanted me to be moved up into a mental health unit to watch my heart, to suggest to me that it's all mental health, everything's in your head. They leave you in the situation that you're in, having your heart drop to next to zero at times. You're literally struggling right there in their care, and they're leaving you in that state and smiling about it. They're just coming into the room smiley and as if nothing is happening to you at all. When your alarm is going off, your heart monitor, the EKG is sitting there going off. So it's believed to me to have even stemmed from Child Protective Services from when I was a young child being infiltrated, as well as to allow my own father to get away with these crimes of not only sedation, but sexual abuse and stalking, to also create fear in me from a very young age to be able to get away from those who were around and too close for comfort, mind you, to be proxy made in my life in this way, to make these attempts against me look like natural selection or look like a natural occasion. But it's been literally no job normal, no relationship in my life normal, no romantic partners to ever be allowed to be normal. If there was any organic relationship at all, it wasn't allowed for me to have a normalcy inside of my own relationship with romantic partners. There's just no outlet of government or medical treating this as a crime against me, but rather turning me into the criminal to save the faces of these people and of the criminals and of the predators of this crime. Not only that, but Child Protective Services that we have given agency to initialized the availability to help protect children in protective services. But these were ultimately gamed, in my belief, based on the fact that these institutions of jobs for child protective services have all been like a something that the predators would want to infiltrate. And so it attracts predators, as was suggested by another whistleblower. And because they've attracted so many of these predators of children, that now the Child Protective Services aren't actually protecting the children. Rather, they're protecting the sexual abusers and the people getting away with being predators in this fashion. So, moving on from that is making me into the criminal to save their own faces, right? But I'm not allowed any natural stability, being that they're sabotaging my work life. My heart has been in pain for a long time because of the poisons, and it took me a long time to even come out of being able to be in that way, to reach discovery and to see these people for who they were. Proxy made relationships, meaning to carry out the crimes that, lo and behold, my own kin couldn't continue, and my own next to kin couldn't continue. So, what was their next greatest option? Was a proxy made relationship to carry out the crime, basically installing malware, if you will, inside of my phones, which not only have had 7 or 8 phones hacked, but I've had four computers now completely hacked to where they don't work. So it's not only taking away the money that I'm paying for my own devices and paying to have availability of having the device that leads me to have an online personification, but they're also hacking my Gmail, my phone number, stealing away my phone number, stealing away my Gmail, stealing away my Facebook, my Instagram, and anything else that would allow me for a normal progression of having an online personification at all. And so that my work life and every avenue of my life is being sabotaged in this fashion, no matter where I go, with who I speak to or who I turn to, whether as a friend or a romantic partner, it's to be made in proxy to carry out and continue the poisoning that these other people could continue to do, as they did to me when I was young, very young. My dad poisoning me up in my bottle, my brothers poisoning me up, knowing far well now that these were the same things and same experiences that I was having, dying, mind you, almost dying, and being like you're suffocating to the cellular level. I had a really hard time speaking, which is why in the first good while of my work, I switched from thinking I was going to be able to come out with this business plan and come out with a charitable vision to having to just learn how to speak. So I was trying to learn how to rap what my feelings were, what my emotions were, what I was going through, all of the events in my life. This angered them. They didn't want me to be able to even speak at all, let alone start speaking out. And you have no idea how hard it is to speak when you're literally suffocating in that way down to the cellular level and you don't have the availability of your organic self to speak at all. So I've been asking for a new name, a new social security, an ability to escape with my normal ability from where I'm at to be able to go out and live out the rest of my life, already much of that life being gamed up, or to die in peace. Whatever the outcome is, I'm asking to be able to have some kind of protection here based on that there should be protection to a victim of this magnitude of this crime. But they aren't even letting me die in peace. They aren't even letting me live my life in peace or have a working life in my own career for that peace to be created. This crime has been ongoing in my life forever since I was just a small child, and I've been being poisoned for a very, very long time. So that's where I'm going to end this message. I have more in my notes to go on with, but I think it's important to realize the extent of the willingness of these parties to want to make anything that they can, the simple 3 to 4 sentences that I said online, as though I'm making threats of violence, when I initially and outwardly suggest that there is no threats of violence whatsoever at all. That they're making these statements as a way to make me the correct criminal for their own criminal actions against me, you see. And if I'm unable to be allowed to be able to go after getting my name back from these hackers, from identity theft, from them working to erase me completely and eradicate me completely, then where do I have to turn to? You see, they've gamed up my finances. They've gamed up my availability to eat. They've gamed up my body, my heart, the way my heart beats, and they've gamed up my every single cell in my body to not be able to breathe. All the way back, dating back to when I was 5 years old, seeing, what was my eyes not able to get the oxygen that they needed to see, much as all of the other areas of my life, including St. Paul Park, including Stacy, Minnesota, including Forest Lake, Minnesota, including living with Emily in Shakopee, Minnesota, where she as well poisoned me up by proxy, and then there was others, dating all the way back to being in the homeless shelter, again working in Forest Lake, again working in ITI, working for ITI, again working in strong converting facilities in a paper mill factory, being a machine operator. No matter what I could do, no matter what I could learn to do, And no matter what job that I chose to do, they would have somebody initially involved in my life, which in the end here, it was Aurelia and Jesse poisoning me up to wanting to take me out to indemnify the crimes that had been happening to me over a lifespan, the whole thing. So from the beginning of my life being fed poison in my bottle to take me all out of self onward, it was to take me completely out. And this is a premeditated murder. Not only in it of that scene, the one scene or the 2-3 scenes, but of my whole life in mind, to be completely eradicated from being able to have any kind of organic go at life in any fashion whatsoever. Not only where I work, but in my love life. Not only in my love life, but my finances. They would take little by little out as they could, just as they would hack me and take away my own journaling. The journaling that I had when I was in Mounds View also being fucked with to some levels of whatever I was going through was to initialize the hacking, get inside the computer, take away the story that I had been working on for a long time, mind you. I'm sure it was probably like 120 pages or something written in typing on my computer, and I had just started to speak on the psychological torture and treatment that I was getting in the same fashions with Jesse and Aurelia as that I got with Cheryl and Jesse. So that there was a prior before the situation with Aurelia, which then I suggested to Aurelia that she was to be a manipulator to then be manipulated, because they have more to hide. And if you were able to discover the things that they were trying to hide, you would realize that you're doing not good here. And she then was throwing him under the bus, and all of a sudden they're both fighting through me. Literally fighting through me, because she didn't want any part to deal with it anymore. She didn't want to have anything to deal with it anymore. But then she couldn't move away from it. So then he started not only having it being the poisoning of me, but the poisoning of her too. And if they were to take my life away, I suggested to her after that just as these demons work, they would take away your life. Because now you would be able to see the extent of the crime and you would want to speak out. So I'm looking for people out here that actually have some gall inside of themselves, because there's somebody somewhere that has something to say that is hiding every last little bit of what I'm saying to be true. So if you know who they are, interrogate them, question them heavily. Don't take anything less for an answer, because what they did to me is absolutely a crime of premeditated murder, premeditated poisoning to murder me, to indemnify their crimes. So thanks for being here, and I hope that you stayed up to this point. I hope that you'll look at the rest of my work to determine the crime that's being taken against me and have some bit of respect for somebody that's come out of a long-standing poisoning of 43 years. It's only been a little over a year since then, and I am still having a hard time. So until next time, thanks. Take care of yourselves. I know that I'm trying my best. God bless. Peace.